Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Yes, we're actually starting the review of this book today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this as we learn some profound lessons from this book. This book has the potential to turn around your relationships and improve your dealings with all of the people in your life. So we're learning principle 1, which says don't criticize, condemn, or complain. We have so many stories in this chapter 1. This is the chapter 1 of this book. And we have so many stories in this chapter that establish that if we criticize people, we are actually opening the door to resentment. It is a waste of time to criticize. It is a waste of time to condemn people. Right. So the title of chapter 1 says, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive, right? On May 7, 1931, there is this story of a notorious criminal who had just killed somebody and he was hiding. And 115 policemen and detectives laid siege to his top floor hideaway in America. You know, they were shooting for like 1 hour. There was pandemonium, there was tear gas, shooting everywhere, and all of that. And when they eventually caught this guy, what did he say? Somebody would have thought that, oh, he would be remorseful, he would be sorry, or he would regret his action. But what did he say? He said, under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one that will do nobody any harm. This is the same guy that when he was stopped by a police officer, instead of him to stop and cooperate with the police officer, he pulled out his gun, shot this police officer. As he was about leaving, he removed the pistol of this police officer and even gave him another bullet, right? Yet he said, under my coat is a weary heart, but a kind one that will do nobody any harm. This is to say that nobody wants to be criticized. Nobody wants to accept any blame. It is sweeter to justify yourself, even when you can clearly see that you are wrong, right? The name of this guy was Crowley. He was sentenced to the electric chair. When he arrived at the death house, he said, this is what I get for killing, somebody would say, or somebody would have thought, he would say, this is what I get for killing people. But what did he say? He said, this is what I get for defending myself. So he never accepted any blame, right? So we have seen so many stories. There's also the story of Capone, who was a notorious criminal in Chicago. He was a notorious public enemy. He was a terrible person who did a lot of harm. And when he was caught, one would think that, he would regret his actions. He said, that he was a public benefactor, right? So what the author is driving at with the so many stories in chapter 1 is that it is futile to criticize people. It is futile to condemn people, right? We're still going to see that as we go on. He says criticism is futile because it puts a person on the defensive. Even you listening to me, imagine times that you have passed on the blame. Imagine times that people have pointed your wrongs to you. But what did you do? Did you say, oh, I'm sorry, I never thought of it that way. Oh, I'm sorry, I did not mean to do that. What did you do? You probably put up a defense. Your ego probably came, got in the way. And then you found a way, you found a form of justification and all of that. John Wanamaker, founder of the American stores that bear his name once confessed. He said, I learned 30 years ago that it is foolish to scold. It is foolish to scold people. Now, this does not mean that we should not scold. This is not what it is saying. Of course, what this chapter is saying is that being overly critical of people, having that condemnation or condemning tongue, you don't give people a breather. And why do you do that? because you feel that, oh, people should know better. There is so much that is expected of them. But do you think of the same thing about yourself? When you make mistakes, do you scold yourself that way? Do you criticize yourself? Do you condemn yourself? You probably say, it was a mistake, or the way some people will put it, nah, something I do, I know kill person, like some Nigerians would like to say, right? You would justify it away. You find an excuse for yourself. So why don't we do the same thing to people? These are some lessons that we need to learn very, very early in life, right? Because even God does not judge us until the end of days. Even God does not say, oh, because you have done this, you have made mistakes, then let me withdraw the air that you are supposed to breathe today. Or let me allow, rain not to fall on you today, or the sun not to shine on your own house today. God does not do that. But anytime people offend us, what do? We actually we are quick to bring out our sharp tongue and all of that. I know many of us are guilty of this, right? The author says criticism is dangerous because it wounds a person's precious pride. It hurts his sense of importance and arouses resentment. Every time you criticize people, they begin to resent you. If you do it once, maybe you can still pass. But you do it the second time, you do it the third time, and it doesn't matter who they are. And it doesn't matter who you are as well. They begin to resent you. There are some parents who are being resented by their children because everything the parents do is to just give orders. You should do this, you should do that. There is a very fantastic write-up that we're going to read at the end of this chapter titled Father Forgets. It is very touching, and it speaks to parents. Of course, everybody can learn from it, but criticism arouses resentment. Every time you have to talk to somebody, you are not even smiling, you are not even doing it in love. There is a way to say something that is so bitter, but then you say it in love, you say it in gentleness, you say it with the interest of the person at heart, and the person can sense it, other than just bringing them down every day. Even the Bible says, let your words be seasoned with salt, right? So that it may bring healing to the soul of whoever hears it. Terrible words, sharp words, bitter words can cut through the soul. I'm sure we all feel it when people don't, correct us in love and all of that. And it is futile. There is another example here of George B. Johnston. He was an engineer in a company, and anytime he goes around to supervise the workers, he would authoritatively tell them, put on your hat, put on your safety hat, put on your hat, put on your hat. Of course, the people will wear it immediately, but the moment he leaves, what happens? They remove the hats until he himself figured it out. Even though he was a boss over them, then he figured it out that, these people are beginning to resent me. So he tried another approach. And then anytime he goes around and says, oh, why are you not wearing your hat? Is it that it's too tight? Is it that it is uncomfortable for you? Oh, you should wear your hat because it is for your own safety. What happened? The people's responses also changed. So you may say, oh, I'm the boss, I'm in authority. But people take your word negatively or positively, depending on how you say it, right? If we don't make lasting changes, if we do not show people that we are human and treat them as humans, what happens? We begin to breed resentment. You must learn this. People retain what they learn. There is another example of animals who were given negative responses. What happened? They reacted negatively. But animals who are given good rewards, what happened? They reacted or responded, not reacted. They responded positively. The same thing applies to humans. If you want somebody to do something, you want to win with people, then you must know how to deal with them. You must know how to use the right words, right? Even if you are the boss, they will only do eye service, but truly they don't like you. They resent you. Every time you come across them, you are scolding them, you are criticizing them. There was a quarrel between Theodore Roosevelt and President Taft. A very bitter quarrel, right? And after this whole thing, Theodore Roosevelt felt that, oh, Taft should take the blame, he should at least apologize. But what did Taft do? He said, I don't see how I could have done any differently from what I have done. So in spite of the terrible things that Theodore Roosevelt thought that President Taft had done, President Taft did not take responsibility. Oh, you can hear him. Okay. He did not take responsibility for what he did. Right. That is to say, every time you scold people, they put up a defense. You must remember that you are human. The human nature will always be in action. Wrongdoers blaming everybody but themselves. We are all like that. So when you and I are tempted to criticize someone tomorrow, let's remember A.I. Capone, Crowley, Albert Ford, President Taft, and so many other people. Let us realize that the person we are going to correct and condemn will probably justify himself or herself and condemn us in return. Like the gentle Taft will say, I don't see how I could have done anything differently from what I have done. There are so many stories, in this book. I'm not going to read all of them, right? But they all speak to the same thing. There was even a man that died because of the fault or supposed fault of another man. And when the person who knew that this man died out of mental worry, that his friend had betrayed him, when the wife of this other guy heard, he said, what? No, he was even the one that betrayed my husband. So people never accept their fault. If you find somebody who accepts that they are wrong, then that person is truly humble. Even the author said that there was a guy who rebuked him very sharply. But 10 years later, when he heard of the death of this man, he did not feel any remorse. He did not feel any sympathy for this man, because the resentment that he harbored from the sharp rebuke of this guy played out 10 years later. So when we criticize people, when we scold them, we should remember that it can live with them for life. Right, 10 years later, he still remembered. Imagine somebody hurting you 10 years ago, and now you hear that, oh, this person died. What happens? The old memories keeps flashing back, and you don't even feel any sympathy for them. That is resentment. We all have to be very, very careful. Resentment can make people to give up. Sorry, not resentment. Criticism can make people to give up. It can make people to commit suicide. There are times that we've heard of different cases on social media. People who are just mocked, who are, being judged. Somebody will make a mistake. Everybody will be setting ring lights, coming to talk about this person. Have you forgotten that they are humans as well? This person is dying in depression, yet you are comfortable setting your ring lights, putting on your microphone to come and judge them, bash them, lampoon them. Right, to what end? Let us remember that they are human. This chapter ends with "Father forgets." Every parent should go and learn that. Should go and read that. Every time you are tempted to just scold your children, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. Can't you see? You're expected to pack your plate. What are you still doing in bed? Go back, pick up that socks, pick up this, do that. Remember that they are humans. And an accumulation of all these sharp words will be will haunt your relationship with them sooner or later. I always say this, some children will go to the university and that is their call to freedom. They will never want to come back home. You'll be sending money to them, and once they graduate, they'll go and find one job in another city just to escape coming back home to you, because they can't bear it anymore. They've had enough growing up, right? Father Forget is about a father who was always complaining about his son, scolding the son, pick up this in the morning, at lunch, at night, every time. Can't you see? Can't you do this? Can't you wake up? Why are you on your knees? If you bought those socks, will you do them this way? Will you treat your books that way? If you bought them with your money, and things like that. Until one day, this child came, in spite of all of this, gave the father a very sweet kiss, put his arms around the father. And it was then the father realized that, wait a minute, what have I been doing to this child? I've been measuring this child by my own yardstick. as an adult. And that is what many people do. We expect our children, a 5-year-old child, a 10-year-old girl, to be all wise and to be all cooperative and all of that. We forget that they are children. And I don't blame many of us. That is the way we've been raised. And this is the script we passed on to the children. We just finished learning about this in the book that we just concluded. Right. We pass on this script to them. And if we don't change this narrative, they will also pass it on to their children. So consciously, we must begin to change this. Before you are harsh on somebody or too hard on them, put yourself in their shoes. How would you feel if somebody talks to you like that? It doesn't matter how fantastic what you want to say is. If you don't say it in love, if you don't say it in a gentle manner, if you don't say it, to show that in a way that shows that you care, then they won't take it. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That is the way it works, right? I'm just going to read this last statement. Instead of condemning people, let's try to understand them. Let's try to figure out why they do what they do. That's a lot more profitable and intriguing than criticism. And it breeds sympathy, tolerance, and kindness. To know all is to forgive all. As Dr. Johnson said, God himself, sir, does not propose to judge man until the end of his days. Why should you and I? Thank you so much. That is the end of principle 1 of this book that says, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Yes. Don't forget to like this video, share your comments with me, and please subscribe to this channel in case you are yet to subscribe. I remain Olaide Agbaje, also known as First Lady. And on this channel, I inspire you to live intentionally. We'll come together tomorrow as we review chapter 2, which says the big secrets of dealing with people. Thank you and God bless. My son has been crying. Bye-bye. Thank you, Mr. IK. Thank you, everybody. You're welcome. Good night.